Hey booktubers, my name is Allorah and you are watching Little Red Pages.
Hey Booktube, I'm Avalon and you're watching Little Red Pages.
This is the first official video on our YouTube Booktube channel, and today Avalon and I decided to do the Booktube Newbie Tag to introduce you to the both of us.
Let's get started.
So I have the questions in my hand and here we go.
Question number 1 is, why did you start this channel?
So we started this channel because we both really love books, and we also wanted to interact more with the booktube community and give our thoughts and opinions on books and reading new books and classics and all kinds of books. So that is why we started this channel.
Allorah and I started this channel because we love to read. We have a very similar taste in literature, but it is not exactly the same taste in literature. So we plan on doing a lot of buddy reads, splicing together our footage, having a really good time, doing lots of reading vlogs, and just sharing our love of reading with people who are interested in reading, as opposed to sharing our love of reading with people that could not be less interested, which happens to me quite a bit.
2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to booktube? Well, I think one of the main things is we've never seen a booktube channel run by two people, let alone best friends, let alone on different continents. So I think it will be fun and unique to review the same books that we buddy read, and doing so splicing the videos so you get 2 views at once. And I think that's one of the most fun things that we have planned for this channel.
Well, this is a channel that will be run by 2 best friends. First and foremost, that's not terribly unique. However, the way that we intend on running this channel is a little bit unique. We want to do a lot of buddy reading. We want to splice together our footage and offer a slightly more comical, light-hearted dual perspective on some of the books that we are reading. We'll also probably be doing some traditional reading vlogs and some book hauls and things of that nature. Question number 3, what are you most excited about for this new channel?
The thing I'm most excited about for this channel is just getting to interact with the booktube community, getting to share awesome reads with my bestie way across the ocean. We don't get to see each other often, but we have been best friends via YouTube actually for about 8 years now.
For me, at least, I'm really excited to be able to share a lot of my reading practice with my best friend, and also with a community that enjoys reading as much, if not more, than I do. And I'm also looking forward to interacting with the booktube community and discovering new authors and new friends and new perspectives on books and new series and just all the yummy content that booktube provides.
Number 4, why do you love reading?
I love reading because I was raised to read. I was read to as a young child by both my father and my mother, and I have cultivated a love of reading since I was really young. I also love reading because it provides me with an escape. It relaxes my mind and it takes me away from the reality of the world, sometimes harsh realities of the world, and just allows me to spend a little time in a world that is so fantastical and so beautiful, with characters that become friends, and it's just a delicious experience reading. And I have loved being a reader all my life, and I can't say enough good things about books. I really can't.
I love reading because it takes you to different places. I especially love fiction reading because it takes me to different places. It introduces me to characters and also teaches me things about life all in one. Authors, I have said before, are brain ninjas, and so I often pick up a lot of life lessons, spiritual truths, and things like that through fiction writing. So that is why I love to read.
Question number 5 is, what book or series got me into reading?
Actually, it wasn't a book series. I think the first books that I really loved, and I'm going to date myself here, but the first books that I really loved were Charlotte's Web, The Boxcar Children, and James and the Giant Peach were the first couple of books that I really loved in grade school. And so those are the books that started me on my journey.
There was no specific book or series, although I have highlights of what types of books over the years have really captured my attention and really birthed a deep, passionate affair with reading. The Bulgariad series by David Eddings was definitely one of them. I was a big fan of Lord of the Rings, as most people were. I loved the Hobbit book when I read it way back in the day. I can't believe that they turned that into 3 movies. It was such a small book.
Number 6, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers?
For me, that would be, how on earth do you manage to read so many books in a month? I cannot fathom it. I'm so impressed. I'm forever impressed with those YouTubers that can get through like 30, 40 books a month. It's mind-blowing to me, and I would like to know how.
Well, for one, all my favorite booktubers, I would ask you, where do you find the time to read so many books? I read an average of between 2 to 4 books a month, and I cannot even fathom how a lot of you guys are reading 10, 15 books and just blogging about it. Or blogging, same difference.
Question 7 is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome?
So, a couple of things. One thing is finding the time, because I also run another channel that is spiritual based, so I make YouTube videos for that channel every week as well. So finding the time to make booktube videos will be one challenge for me, and the other challenge for me will be switching between talking spiritual stuff and talking books.
The conventional challenges, I don't think they will plague me as much because I have been on YouTube running a channel for maybe 8 years or something like that. So those conventional aspects won't plague me, but perhaps running out of space for books will. Getting sucked in to buying awesome books upon the recommendation of other booktubers and Allorah, I think that will be a great problem. Learning to curb my spending when it comes to books, and you know, that's the biggest problem I can see. I am moving house from my tiny off-grid home to a more conventional homestead style experience, so I will have more space for books, so perhaps that won't be such a problem after all.
Number 8, when did you start reading?
I started reading as soon as I was able. I remember quite enjoying the practice of reading, like little tiny books at probably the age of 6 or 7, but I don't think I really got stuck into reading until I was about 10, despite the fact that I was always read to, so I consumed literature in that way. Independently reading, probably between 10 and 12, definitely that time.
So I started reading from a very early age. I was probably about 4 when I started picking up books on my own and started reading things like Dr. Seuss and the general primary school books that kids are first introduced to. And so I started reading from a very early age, and probably because I was in the hospital for a lot of my childhood, and books allowed me to get my mind off of that stuff, and I had adults reading to me as well during my hospital stays, and so it was a way to escape reality. And yeah, that's when I started reading.
Question number 9 is, where do you read?
I read in the car, I read in my room, I read on the couch, I read pretty much anywhere. I love to read outside, especially if I can get a picnic blanket or a quilt or whatever and chill out in the yard. I love to do that as well. And I also have been known to imbibe a few adult beverages while I read, if it's a really good read.
I read everywhere. I'm a big fan of audiobooks, so when I'm doing my off-grid yard work, I have my earbuds in and I'm listening to a book. If I'm cooking, which I hate to do, I have my earbuds in listening to a book. If I'm sitting down and enjoying a book, it will happen to be in my tiny kitchen, which is the only place that I can sit and enjoy literature. Or I'll read something on my Kindle app, on the iPad, in the bed, chilling out. Maybe some whisper sync if my eyes are feeling particularly tired. I read everywhere. I read as many places as I can. Basically, if I have peace and quiet, I consume that peace and quiet and turn it into a reading experience.
Number 10, what kind of books do you like to read?
So I do love fantasy. I will do young adult, I will do dystopian, I will do literary fiction. I will do a bit of science fiction. I do a lot of poetry. I like so many different genres. Contemporary is a new one for me. I mean, I just read Daisy Jones and Daisy Jones and the Six, and I really enjoyed that. Romance, contemporary romance. I'm really not a big fan of thrillers and dramas and horrors. I'm a scaredy cat. I get really anxious reading that type of thing, so I like to make my reading experience really enjoyable and lighthearted. I want it to relax me, inspire me, etc. I don't want to be thrown down a dark hole. I'll read a bit of grim dark for sure, but that's kind of like a different vibe. And yeah, I don't mind a few sort of like political, thriller-esque type fantasies. Yeah, it's hard to really pinpoint all of the genres, but I'm pretty open to reading most things as long as it doesn't scare me.
So I love fantasy books. I am also into some sci-fi. I will read like true crime thriller depending upon the amount of violence that's written into it. I also have come to really appreciate contemporary. I am pretty eclectic in my book choices, but for the most part, I love anything fantasy or fantasy sci-fi related. So most of the books that I pick up are in that wheelhouse, but I love to mix it up and read things outside of my normal genres because usually I surprise myself and they're really good books.
So thanks for hanging out with Allorah and I for our Booktube Newbie Tag, which is our introduction to Booktube.
Okay, well thank you guys for joining me for my Booktube Newbie Tag, and
it is one of our goals for 2020 to get together as often as we possibly can, buddy read as much as we can, and deliver as much content as we are able to individually and collectively.
Hope you guys tune in to watch our antics and join us on this Booktube journey.
So, take care. Thanks for hanging out. Talk to you soon. Bye, friends.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys next time.